Nice job.
Hello and welcome everyone to Shift Talk, your weekly dose of automotive shenaniganry. My name is Chad, and with me for an almost unprecedented second week in a row is the partner in crime, the virtue of Volvo, the don't want him on your pit crew changing tires, Mr. Gregson.
Probably not. Yeah. Hello.
How are you
Good to
doing, my
see.
friend?
Good to see you. I am doing great. We are talking about cars. Life is grand. We actually have things working for us in a way that is not incredibly frustrating. Thank you so far to technology. I'm sure on my end it'll fail at least once tonight, but so far so good.
All hail technologists, the
That's right.
grand the grand lord of all things technology.
The grand poobah of circuitry.
Yes, something like that.
How are you
Although
doing, sir?
I'm good. I found some new. There was an update to Streamlabs, which might
Ooh.
be yay. It's not. It's doing its Streamlabs thing of everything's working, sort of.
Yes.
But no, it's good. Why can't I pop you out? At any rate, um, sorry, I'm in the middle of. I'm trying to pull up the streams in like the background, so I have like the streamer stuff that you look at and you watch and you do and whatever. Um,
Hmm.
and of course, Meta has changed the layout of things, so now like
Of course I
the
have.
the, the chat is like instead of being like here where I can read it quickly and
Hmm.
easily, it's all the way on the right. So like literally, if you see me doing this, it's me reading or typing in chat. So
Nice.
yeah.
Thanks,
So
Meta.
comment mode default. Oh God, I've broken it. I've made it worse.
Oh no. But we're here. We're good. We're going to talk cars. We got a bunch of good topics to talk about. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. We have lots of things to cover tonight, including one personal, which is car related. That's going to be a good topic of conversation. We've got some motorsports news that we're going to chat about as well, and we have a couple of news stories that I think we're gonna parse through too. So, you, sir, did you want to start with the motorsports stuff? Because you said that you wanted to do like sort of a recap thing. If not, I can talk about a couple other things whilst you get other things situated.
Yeah. So I guess we'll kind of just like lean right into it. There's nothing. How do I put this? Uh, for a week where we had Cletus racing in the ARCA car, getting his first ever career pole in an ARCA car, which is massive news. Don't get me wrong. Um, and then sort of having one of the races of all time in the ARCA race, not great, not terrible or what have you. Actually, for the second time out of three races, his buddy Squirrel McNutt, aka LS George, was outperformed him. Um, and then, of course, Cletus did the truck race, rather unremarkable there. Spun once, had another near spin early in the race or what have you. Uh, I don't know if we've crossed the threshold into Cletus doing this being, I don't want to say the norm because it is still an event when he races. But we had no morons talking about it on the internet or what have you. Well, I'm sure there were. It's just none came across my feed. Which
Yeah.
to be the way my algorithms are set up, if it didn't come across my feed, chances are it wasn't all that bad. Um, as for the NASCAR races themselves this weekend, you had Corey Heim winning in the trucks. Surprise, surprise. Uh, insert all he does is win earworm into everyone watching. Um, Gio Ruggiero won the rain shortened race in ARCA. And you had Denny Hamlin absolutely just bitch slapping the entirety of the field, uh, winning by a scarcely believable 11 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, But in the world of NASCAR, where there's a ton of cautions, where the cars are so equally matched, all of that stuff, it is something of a that's a huge margin of victory. I don't know why I
Yeah.
adjusted it so I wasn't level with. There we go. Then over on the IndyCar side of things, you had Joseph Newgarden winning in Iowa, which is a short oval, which is pretty insane because Joseph had a crash and had a sustained some injuries at Indy. So good to see him not only back in a car, but back in a car and doing well.
Yes.
And
Not injured.
then this is one of my favorite weeks of the year because, as we've said many, many, many times, um, sports car racing is my favorite form of racing, and the biggest sports car race of the season is upon us. Um, there we go. Which is the Le Mans 24 Hours. That's not going to work either.
I thought you were gonna say my run to school with the kids.
Oh, you mean your actual run to school with the kids, like not?
Yes. Favorite sports car race of the year is that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll explain why I'm sort of fidgeting around in a second. Um, Le Mans this week. We just had the qualifying uh today, which sets the 10 cars that are going to end up on Hyperpole or going for Hyperpole, which is sort of like their way of doing like the fast, like IndyCar does the fast six and all that sort of stuff. But that's going to be tomorrow. Surprise, surprise, Ferrari, winners of this race 3 years in a row, I think. Overall, wasn't in the top 10 in qualifying, although qualifying for Le Mans isn't necessarily an indicator of who's going to win. But Alpine led from Cadillac, led from BMW, which led from Cadillac, and that was kind of your top 5. Where is it? I want to look. I just wanted to go over one. Then BMW, Toyota was doing well. Toyota's doing well on the free practices as well. And both Aston Martins were in the top 9, which is, I could go on. We've talked about Aston Martin here. We could go on a much longer, I don't want to call it rant, but discussion about Aston Martin and their hypercar program. And how they're sort of at a disadvantage because they're not hybridized, blah, blah, blah. But to see them in the top 9 is pretty encouraging. Because frankly, it's a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 with no hybrid tomfoolery. So it sounds epic. It's kind of old school in the sense that a carbon fiber aero missile can be. So that's pretty exciting. This is Greg kind of knows as far as like on our back end of stuff, but like it's actually kind of exciting because I feel like I'm ahead of my game and workload, so I might be able to watch a decent chunk of the race this year, assuming I can find it. I don't.
Well done.
I forget where it's being broadcast in the States. They really need to do a better job of that, especially if they intend to grow. And then last but not least, you can't see it, but I have a new chair. The old chair bit the dust. I quite literally threw it off of my deck, which is which is the second story compared to where my garage. It sits above my garage, and I'm hitting the back of my hat on the headrest at the moment, which is annoying.
Which is the reason for the fidgeting.
Right, which is why at some point you'll see me throw it to Greg, just so I can fix this. But this headrest was such a royal, massive pain in the rear end to fit. The chair itself was fairly easy. This one, the collars that the bolts go through, the way they're set up is you couldn't get any purchase with your fingers on the bolts to get them started. So and this headrest is kind of awkward in its shape and how it's how it contours to the rest of the chair. So, um,
Well, then the choice is easy. All you got to do is sawzall the headrest off. You're fine.
no, it was such a pain in the ass to put on that I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna do everything I can to make this fucker work before that, because in terms of working, so when I'm sitting here doing the stream or I'm editing or whatever, uh, it's a mild inconvenience as long as I don't, because frankly, I'm uh the whole reason I wear the hat, and I wear the hat backwards, is that I don't like the shadows, because the way I have my lighting set up, I don't like the shadows that it casts over my forehead. It looks kind of off to me, so that's why I wear the hat backwards in on these shows and for all of the content I film and everything, or at least the shorts that I film. That's the why. Obviously, it's a little bit of back, a little bit. I will be building a studio soon. And the funny thing is I have like 99% of the parts to make that work. Downside is I'm still going to use this rig to stream because it's the more powerful of the two units. It's what I use to edit. It's what I use to game on, all that sort of stuff. So, but that should be coming with some form of lighting upgrade, because at the moment I have 2 points of light. I have a light here that's just above monitor 1, and I have a light here, monitor 1, light here, monitor 2, but there's no light coming from below the monitors. So eventually I will be getting another one. So hopefully it doesn't look uh so it doesn't look awkward. Cut a slot for the brim. I would do that. But again, like for work, the chair, if it's fine. Like this is the only time it's an inconvenience. However, when I'm not working, I'm literally sitting reclined, looking in that general direction. So, and it's super comfortable for that, and it really helps because I have scoliosis, and there's a small hump on my back that you wouldn't even notice it unless you were looking for it. But it's comfortable for that. But welcome, Alicia. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome, welcome.
Becoming one of our hardcore regulars,
That's
which is
right.
awesome.
Like it.
And that's pretty much it without getting too much into the nitty gritty. Obviously, I could talk motorsports all day. But seeing as how we are celebrating Greg's second show in a row, I figured I'd let him sort of have reins of the topics du jour today.
Soup du jour. What's that? That's the soup of the day. That sounds great. I'll have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Greg, you have
Well,
topics of a news orientation. You can pick whichever one
yes.
you
So,
wanted.
I'm just bringing them up, but we had a couple of things that went. We had a couple of things that were very interesting that came through this week. One of them being Ford, well, a couple of Ford things, and one of them is going to be a reel that we're putting out in a couple of days. But two Ford things that let's start there, because Ford seems to be in the news a lot over the last, well, this year basically. They are still the recall kings, which is not a good look. They are trying to rectify that, but there's two things that they've either said or are bringing out soon that are very interesting. The first being that one of their chief executives went on record saying that they were absolutely right to 86 the sedans from their lineup. Fine. But that executive and Ford as a whole also sees a place where the Mustang would would become a family of vehicles. Now, this has been sort of rumored for a long time, but Jim Farley has gone on record saying they would only do that if it makes sense and if it stays true to like what the Mustang is. So I both believe and do not believe him, because they already put the Mustang name on an EV crossover, which defeats the purpose of what he said. And the other side of that is a four-door Mustang, or God forbid, praise the car gods, a wagon Mustang with a V8 would be arguably two of the coolest things that have ever come out of the Ford garage to purchase here in the U.S. Mustang four door and Mustang wagon. Yes, sign me up for that with a Coyote V8 in it. So they had said that the Mustang, they don't want to bring back sedans, but they want to expand the Mustang line into potentially being a sedan. So who knows what they're saying at this point, because they seem to be talking out of both sides of their mouth. The other side of that is they have said that they are going to be bringing out a $30,000 or cheaper truck, mid-size, but it's going to be an EV. And I made a reel about this, and it went sufficiently bonkers on both YouTube and Facebook. So pleasant surprise there. Chad's editing, of course, very excellent as always, was probably the catalyst for that, as it's really not that interesting of a topic. However, the point that I made is if they pull this off, then I think the use case and the proof of concept for the cheap EV works. If they don't pull this off and it flops horribly, along with the Slate, which is from, I think it's Amazon, right? That's bringing that out. The
More or
Slate.
less, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So if the Slate can work, and if this Ford truck EV cheap thingy, whatever the hell it is, it's going to apparently rival the Ranger in size, but also have more interior room than a RAV4. Good luck with that. If those two things fail, that I think is going to be the utter death knell for the cheap EV, and it will never happen. Whether it's cars, trucks, whatever, I think if those two things absolutely fail, EVs will not become the majority ever. So we will see. Ford for the rest of this year and into 2027 is going to be very interesting to watch for those two things specifically. So that was something that I wanted to get your sort of gauge on, Chad. Is you're a Ford guy, you have a Ford Mustang. First off, let's start with the Mustang family. What is your opinion on expanding the Mustang family, not as an EV crossover, but as a potential four-door with optional V8, or, power wagon with optional V8?
So here's the thing, like that sort of stuff inside of the industry is, how do I put this? That's becoming more and more of a thing, right? Is to these for brands to talk about sub branding
Right.
their desirable models, their what do you want to call it? Halo models, so to speak. Not that I guess
Or
technically the
just
Mustang
popular
is.
models. Toyota tried to do it with the Prius. It didn't really work out, but
I mean,
popular models, they try to do this.
you and I have overwhelmingly different definitions of the word popular.
I mean, they sell a shit ton of they sell a shit ton of Priuses. Popular with consumers, for sure.
Um, but like you've heard Chevy talking about a Corvette line. You've
Yes.
heard again Chevy talking about a Camaro line potentially, right? Uh, and
Yep.
it kind of goes because it's like, oop, it's the same reason why they put the Mustang name on that abomination of an
Right.
electric Ford Edge thing, the Mach E,
Yeah.
right? Because the brand recognition. So, look, I've always maintained that the Mustang, the Camaro, the Challenger, they have their roots in being pony cars. Now they've all sort of deviated from what I wouldn't say deviated, but they've all sort of had their own take and spin on it. Uh, Camaro, well, it likes to, we're here, we're not, we're here, we're not,
Yeah.
right? But So on the one side of the spectrum, you have the Mustang, especially and starting with the S550 generation, it's become a sports car more than a pure pony car. Independent rear suspension, you know, modern sort of bordering on exotic engine and I don't mean the Coyote's an exotic engine because fuck, they put it in trucks, right? So like let's be real.
Yeah.
What I mean is it's dual overhead cam. The base models have what's known as IMRCs, which are a secondary throttle blade that open based on torque demand and things like that. It's not just a smooth run. It's designed to try to make turbulent air to generate more torque down low while also having the ability to make power up high. Which is exactly why I will be deleting that in my car. To be fair, I deleted it in the other car too. That time it was because they don't like those systems don't necessarily like positive pressure because they were never really designed for it, i.e.
Yeah.
boost. But it's a dual overhead cam engine. It has some of the best factory cylinder heads on the planet. And I'm talking whether it be the big three auto manufacturers in America, whether you want to bring the Euros in, the Pacific Rim, any of them.
Yeah.
So, and then of course on the other side you have the chart or the Challenger. I'm not counting the current crop of Chargers because well, there's no V8 option yet, so you can't call a muscle car. But those were the muscle cars. They're big, they're heavy, they're straight line monsters, and that has its place too. And Camaro's always sort of slotted in the middle. Camaro's lean more towards the Mustang, though they're a little heavier. Um, they have their pros, they have their cons.
Right.
Dodge showed us that you could have a four-door muscle car and have it be popular and work with the old Charger alongside the Challenger. And everybody pretty much knew that it was the same chassis underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So while I would like the pony car or the cars that's while I would like the pony cars to kind of stay true to their pony car heritage and only be two doors, the 2+2 and all this other stuff, I have no problem if they like I have no problem with the Chevy if they want to do a four-door Camaro. I don't necessarily have a problem with the Mustang if they want to do a four-door Mustang, as long as they did it right. You know, one of the problems with trying to take a long, because all pony cars have long noses, short decks. To me, that doesn't work stylistically, or yeah, style wise. English words are hard. With a four door, it's really hard to pull off. Cadillac does it okay. The Porsche Panamera kind of didn't. So as long as they did the styling right, I'd have no problem with it. And then, like to your point, if we got a Coyote powered wagon sounds like the right kind of a good time.
Hell yeah, it does.
So
I
I
would
don't.
love for them to do that.
So I don't. Again, I do not have a problem with that. And not for nothing, you could theoretically make an all-wheel drive variant of it that would launch as hard as the F-150s, but still be a wagon, which I think
Yeah,
would be
right.
pretty dope. So I don't really have I don't have a problem with it. Where I have a problem with it is when you remove all sort of sporting characteristic, like you do when you jack a car up and make it into a crossover. Looking in your general direction, Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
Coming soon, the Evo Cross.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I said, like as long as it's done right and it's not like a bastardization, it's not, you know, because look, GM is going all in on the performance sedan. You have the Caddy, you're gonna have a Chevy, you're gonna have a Buick, and they're probably gonna slot into three different sort of base price points. Yes, I'd like to see a two-door Camaro, but on the flip side, I'm not gonna have a problem with a four-door variant because the CTV, the CT5, and the CT5V and the Blackwing, those are damn good cars. And if you could make one of those for a 70% of the price,
I mean, yeah.
how much luxury do you really need?
Not a lot,
You
to be
know,
honest.
a modern, in pretty much every quote unquote base manufacturer, right? The Chevy to Cadillac, the Toyota to Lexus, etc., right?
Hmm.
There's already, you get similar seats, or they're an option. You can get a slightly less, it's not as nice, but it's still leather if you're so inclined. You get an
Right.
infotainment system that's going to do CarPlay. Well, I guess with GM, you're probably not, but you're going to get a good infotainment system. You're going to have the option for a decent enough stereo.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit cheaper inside, but on the flip side, it's not going to be demonstrably different from how you use it, other than the visual and the tactile.
Right.
So you're getting all of the performance and the fun for none of the, and just a little, for at a cheaper price, and an interior that's not going to be terrible.
Right. And I think that's a good underpinning for a lot of cars these days. Like if you, I'll give you an example. My neighbor traded in his 2017-ish Chevy Tahoe and got a basically brand new 2024, 2025 Toyota Sequoia. I'll tell you, I got in that car and sat in there and was like, wow, this is nice. And Toyota Sequoia, the older version, you're like, okay, it's a Toyota, it's utilitarian. They do a good job to gussy it up as much as they can. This was like a luxury truck. This was this was nice. And Ford is in that same realm. Everything has moved up market interior wise and luxury wise. Um, you look at Hyundai. Hyundais are almost borderline luxury interiors these days. Like the interior of the new Santa Fe when it's topped out, the boxy one. Man, it feels like a Land Rover inside. So like again, same thing to your point. With how far Ford has come, like to be able to put out like what they have, but also like a Mustang four door with a V8 and a semi decent interior. I mean, I'm sold.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm there. Bye
and,
bye Polestar.
and not for nothing, like Mustang interiors are pretty dang nice. I mean, the cloth
They are,
interiors and the cloth seats are they're okay. But
but
like
they're
the
not
leather and the
bad.
Recaros that I had and that I still have that I'm gonna put in my current car,
Yeah.
they're great. And like, look, I'm all here for performance, fun, enthusiast based cars. And while it may not be the true definition of pony car, a Mustang sedan is still a fun enthusiast car.
Sure is.
So bring it on. Yeah. And what was
Yeah.
and there was a second part of that. You were talking about the little.
The EV truck, basically. It's this Ranger sized interior volume of RAV4 sub $30,000 truck. Like, do you think that's going to succeed? Do you think the Slate is going to succeed? Do you see these small EVs really? Do you see them succeeding in the way that the cheap EV can be a thing? And do you think that if they do fail, it's the end of the cheap EV as we know it?
So twofold. Number one, I think it can be done. You just have to stick to it. And most importantly, you have to make sure your dealers understand that.
Yes, great point.
Anything with buzz or demand or something like that, the dealers are like, all right, we're going to slap a 2,000 to sometimes way more extreme than that delivery fee or some bullshit fee just so they make a little more money on the sale.
Hmm.
If they do that, I mean, that's what kills hot hatchbacks here, like without
Yeah.
shadow of a doubt, because everybody's like, that's really cool because they're affordable, fun. I go to the dealership and oh, what's this $10,000 boss needs a Land Rover fun charge,
Right.
right? Like, and it prices the people who want it out of it. So if they can do a small, mid-size ish electric truck that has decent enough range, but most importantly, meets the price point, and their dealers understand that it has to stay at that price point, I think it can be successful. I think there's a market for it. Now, I think the bigger issue with the Ford is that that's playing more into the traditional truck space, even though I don't think Ranger buyers are going to be like, ooh, there's an electric version. I'm going to go buy that. There's zero
Yeah.
cross shopping there. So the electric truck market as a whole on the conventional side is very difficult to kind of crack. GMC's having trouble with it. Chevy's having trouble with it. Ford failed spectacularly with it. Um, you know, I still don't I don't even know where we sit. I don't even know if it came out or if it's still planned. The extended range EV that Ram was doing, which has potential because it's not a pure electric car. It's kind of on that Fisker uh,
Yeah.
setup where the gas engine just charges the batteries or provides direct electric power for the electric motors. That kind of sort of makes it some sense because of the torque benefits of electric.
Yeah.
But even then, like I haven't heard anything on that anytime soon. So it's like, does are people going to buy that? It's the one that makes the most sense. Are people going to buy
Great
it?
question.
I know a bunch of Ram owners, and I know a bunch of them want nothing to do with it. So
Correct.
that's a really tough nut to crack. I applaud Ford for trying to get ahead of, or not get ahead of, but be at the ready should the slate pop off. And I
Yeah.
think that's the bigger thing here is that the slate, as we've said multiple times, is if they can pull it off with what they're talking about, which the way they're going to sell them, the way they're going to be modular, the way that 2 years down the road, if you want to actually upgrade the radio, it's a very simple panel off, panel in, boom, you're done. It's good to go. You want to upgrade the battery down the line. It's a simple thing. It's affordable. You can get it as bare bones as you want or as with as much stuff as you want. It's basically you're buying a car or truck a la carte. The stuff you want, the stuff you don't want, done. And if
Which
they
is
can
awesome.
do that and be affordable, it will get individuals who are like, I don't know, like, yeah, the range makes sense for me on a day to day, but man, it's a little expensive. It's kind of a pain in the neck. Whereas if it's inexpensive and cheaper than some of the alternatives, you might say, or the consumer might say, oh, that kind of actually makes sense now. Or it makes a
Mm.
little more sense. Or I'm willing to go that extra mile to deal with owning an electric vehicle because of the price point. So if Slate is successful, we've said it, they'll change the way cars are sold.
Which would be a welcome thing because the way cars are sold is, quite frankly, very antiquated. And I can name exactly 0 people that want to walk into a dealership and be like, oh, yes, I can't wait to haggle.
Right.
Nobody wants that.
So this is where I applaud Ford for sort of, okay, we have something at the ready should the slate pop off. And as long as they sort of stick to that slate ethos,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be as modular because nobody really thought, well, I shouldn't say that. Years, decades, damn near a century ago, this is how cars were sold. You ordered the chassis, then you went to a coach builder and ordered the bodywork, and then you had a someone do the interior, and then like all that stuff. So I applaud Ford for saying, "Hey, this is a thing that might pop off. This is a thing that might be successful. Let's make sure we're prepared for it."
Yeah.
Uh, And again, this is a big end. Like they had all the biggest claims in the world about the Lightning, how it'd be affordable, how it'd be this, how it'd do that. It failed to meet all of them. So they're
Yeah.
again going to have to sit here and say, we have to figure out how to make this truck at this to sell at this price point, make the margin we want on it, and keep it inexpensive, and make sure our dealers know that. Because if, let's just say hypothetically, this thing starts to generate a ton of buzz and they start slapping something as little as $5,000 to the purchase price. On a $30,000 vehicle, that's what, like,
That's a sixth of the price
yeah, it's
on top of the original 30.
roughly 15 to 17% of the
Yep.
purchase price of the vehicle slapped on top of
Yep.
it. You know, um, which is significant. It is massively significant, and if you start to, you won't. It'll fail if the dealers do that. I'll say that. Now, I don't necessarily believe it's going to generate that kind of buzz and that kind of demand, but it's just an example that the dealers need to be kept in check, and hopefully, maybe the best thing that comes out of this is that OEMs are like, you sell the car at the MSRP or within a two, whatever the percentage, but it's under 5%. So like
Yeah.
1 to 3 of the MSRP that we tell you. I don't care that you only have an allotment for 3 Mustang Dark Horse SCs and you want to maximize your dollar on every single one of them. We don't care. Because pricing has gotten way out of control. And if you could sit here and tell me that I can go down to a dealership and get a reliable, brand new vehicle for $30,000, there's a shit ton of people who are going to sign up for that, as long as it has X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
the
right,
second
'cause-
part of, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna make a quick point on that. It's like, but that's a great point. The way the cheap EV works is threefold. It needs to have fast charging, it needs to have over 300 miles of range, and it needs to be under 30 grand. If it can do those three things, it will succeed. But fast charging isn't a thing yet. You can't just pull up to a charger with any EV you want and charge in 5 minutes. That's not a thing. It will eventually get there, especially with solid state batteries, but still is not there. But if they can make this cheap EV with a um, with a 300 to 350 mile range under 30 grand, that's 2 out of 3 hit. I think that if those two can be met, it will succeed.
Yeah, you basically have to do the value proposition, right? Or the value add proposition. If you can get into an electric car for cheaper than a gas alternative, you're incentivizing people to deal with the perceived hassle.
Right.
How many times have you gotten the less expensive version of a pick a thing, like a refrigerator, and it just doesn't have all the bells and whistles as the more expensive one that you wanted, but it just made more sense for you, or what have you. Like it has to. Electric cars have to be mass adopted. That's the thing.
Yes.
Now, I will be blunt. I think the slate has a massive opportunity in front of it.
Agreed.
I don't know if any of the traditional OEMs are going to have the same, even if they copy Slate's homework. I don't think it's because every single OEM has some sort of negative tie to that type of vehicle. Ford with the Lightning, Mercedes, when they do an EV, there's no frunk, which doesn't sound like a ton, but when you consider the fact that the way the electric motors are set up in the back and you have less trunk space, it's like this thing is less utilitarian.
That's true.
Everybody has this sort of thing. So
Yeah.
what I see, and this kind of piggybacks into your second question of, if these EVs fail, is that the death knell for cheap EVs? Short term, yes. Long term, absolutely not. Eventually, we will get to a point. Taking the first part of it, if there's in the short term and there's no incentive or no push from a government to make EVs, you're not gonna. These OEMs are gonna kind of stay in their lane. What's the EV we're doing well? What's we're not? Or we're just gonna stick to hybrids because they sell better. They're the quote unquote best of both world option. So if a small cheap EV doesn't sell, that's a lot of development going in. And I know we've talked about EVs being simple to design and everything, and you're really just as long as you have the right skateboard per se, it's going to you could slap whatever body you want on it, but that's still development dollars. And if they're going to put development dollars, because what's the thing? Cheap cars, you have to sell, for every, let's just go back to 10 years. For every, you know, one top of the range Honda Passport they
Hmm.
sold, they'd have to sell 2 to 3 Civics to make the same amount of margin,
Right.
to make the same money. The cheap car has to sell, and I'm just using 3x as a random number, but it at damn minimum has to double.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not you're making your money in volume. If they can't move volume, they're just not going to go through the effort because you could just slap in a Civic hybrid or a Maverick hybrid to do kind of the same job.
Yeah. True.
But on the long term, there will be cheap EVs at some point. It's just the technology has to catch up, right? It was
Yeah.
just like internal combustion. When it first came around, there wasn't really a cheap internal combustion vehicle. Like I said, you had to buy the chassis and the engine from Duesenberg. You had to take it across the street to Johnny to put a body on it, and then you had to ship it to the next town over to have Billy put the interior in it. They were
Right.
luxury items. And then guys like Henry Ford come along and just, if we just have an assembly line where everything's done in the same building, where we start with this at the beginning and it spits out a finished car, and we'll be able to, the economy of scale, drive the price down. Now all of a sudden the internal combustion car became an, I don't want to say every day, but like an affordable thing.
Right.
That's the same thing with electric cars. I have absolutely no doubt that down the road somewhere, whether it be solid state or sodium ion or some technology that we're not aware of that is coming or in development right now that really doesn't have quote unquote buzz behind it. It'll be here eventually, and I don't think it will. And I think cheap EVs will eventually will happen in our lifetime, assuming we live another 20, 30 years. Uh,
Hopefully. Hopefully. Hopefully.
so I think the big thing is I really want Slate to succeed because it will totally upturn the way the industry is.
Yeah.
It has a chance to almost be that Model T moment. It has a
Yeah.
chance to show these OEMs that, hey, you don't need to bundle $5,000 worth of useless stuff just because the guy wants heated seats.
Right.
Uh, that sort of stuff. Or if you give person the chance to order stuff a la carte, you may find they'll spend that extra $5,000 still. It just won't be in the package that you think it is.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I think that to me is more important than the small cheap EV, because the cheap EV's coming. It, it, it's there's too many people working on EVs for that to just not happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
I so I both agree and disagree. I think EVs are going to stick around for another 100, 200 years. I just think that if they can't get the cheap EV right now, it's going to continue as a luxury item or as a mid-range to and up item. They because it's going to be too expensive. Um, just to make it. So if these two things don't succeed, I don't see the cheap EV happening, maybe even ever. But to your point, I mean, it could just be a timing thing. Maybe they do just, boodle along as what they have now, and then all of a sudden, solid state battery, sodium ion, whatever, comes along. Oh, we can make those for $1,000 a car, and that's it. And they last for 20 years. They never degrade, and you get fast charging in 5 minutes from 0 to 100%. We can make them and put them in your car for $1,000. Well, then, okay, well, if that happens in 30 years, then yeah, then I think that they'll just immediately flip the switch and be like, "Yep, that's what we're doing." But I think that if they can't solve it within the next 5, then they won't try to solve it at all. And they will just continue to try to make because money is going to drive it more than innovation at that point.
Right. I just think there is a again, it goes back to the fact that if they can do something, how do I put this? Right now in the current landscape that we occupy, uh you it's an on-off switch. You're either an EV person or you're not.
Yeah.
You know, and it's how do I put this? The people who are not into EVs, they're just not going to look at them. They're not going to get them. You have to, like I said, you have to incentivize them to do it. And right now, there's no option for that. But luxury, you see it across the board. Luxury auto manufacturers are hot or cold. They're making a ton of money or they're losing a ton of money, like because they're dealing in such little volume. I guarantee you, every single major OEM is looking at being able to make a mass producible, affordable, cheap EV because the upside, especially if you're the first. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say Slate's the first because I don't know what their production capacity is. Right? I don't know if they're
Right.
going to be able. Who was the last great big EV innovator that everybody's like, ooh, they're going to make a ton of these things? It was Tesla. And what's one of the biggest issues with Tesla? Meeting demand. Matt building,
Yeah.
fulfilling orders, getting stuff to market on time. The only companies that really seem to have that capability are your traditional OEMs at the moment. So,
Mm.
but I think that's a, I don't want to say it's a holy grail thing, but, and don't get me wrong, I want internal combustion to win. I want, I, I, I,
Yeah.
I want to see whether it be we figure out how to make ethanol out of grass clippings and suddenly landscapers are like
Oh.
the new oil barons.
I was like, I would immediately fire my lawn crew and start cutting my own grass again. That's
You
for
know, like,
sure.
but that sort of whether it be synthetic fuels, whether it be figuring out a way to
Yeah, yeah,
what is effectively brew ethanol, because,
yeah.
right? So, like that sort of stuff. I want internal combustion to win. It's the simplest thing, it's the cheapest thing, I think, for us as a society to do. For the simple fact of getting EV infrastructure, you know who's probably going to foot the bill for at least some of it, if not a significant proportion of it?
Mm.
We are. Taxes.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Um, so I just think figuring out the cheap EV is something that everyone is working at. Because look, like we've seen the mass exodus from EV plants from almost every single manufacturer. But what were those EV plants? They were for big, expensive vehicles, right? Luxury items. We haven't seen a cheap EV planned. So I kind of hate you for making me champion this. But I mean, at the end of the day, at the end
Excellent.
of the day, um, and then we'll get to Greg's solo time on the ones and twos. Uh,
Well, you keep doing that because I'm gonna do this and then I'll have my solo time. Be right back. You
do
keep
this,
going.
do that. All right, let's just watch Greg as I now access his security cam footage. Uh, uh, I'll get to that in a second. Steve, what's going on, my dude? Matthew, welcome back, my friend. He goes, the slate should be a cheap EV. We 100% agree. Uh, it should be. they have to deliver it, and they have to be able to. I don't know what their dealer network is. I don't know all that sort of stuff. Probably should, since it's a relatively frequent topic here. But they need to deliver that. And what I'm getting tired of is these companies saying we're going to build a car for 20 grand. 30. It's going to be 35. Okay, last one, 37 grand, right? And now you're almost double the price. So like they have to deliver. And I've heard good things, I've heard some they might not. Because when we're talking about a car that cheap, a couple grand matters, right? Um so let's then we got Chris Wilhelm over on Facebook. Goes, hey, yo, everyone, newbie here. Well, first and foremost, from Shifting Lanes, for myself and, well, my currently absent co-host, Greg, welcome. Feel free to chat away. The reason we do this live is so we get to talk with chat. You know, normal chat rules apply and everything like that. But welcome, my friend. We also have... looks like we have Dev over on X. Welcome, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. But one last thing I'll kind of touch on, and then we can kind of feel free. You guys can ask some questions and things like that. The thing with electric cars to me, and as I see them, from the standpoint of I'm not in the market for one. I don't foresee myself being in the market for one anytime soon. But I understand. But I do believe let the market decide. If people want an EV, you should buy one. Simple as that. But from a 1,000-yard view, I look at the EV space as if we can push battery technology to such a degree, it's only going to make hybrids all the better. And for the next 25 years, I see hybrids being the dominant powertrain or becoming the dominant powertrain. So if you can make the battery tech there better, but also make it so people don't really have to change their day to day. They don't have to worry about charging. They can go to a gas station for all they care. They might be able to charge at home, but they don't have to. And what have you. And then we have James Wilcoxon asks over on Facebook, who makes the cheapest EV? I think the Slate's going to be it, and I think maybe the Leaf. Greg would know better than I would. He's a degenerate.
Thanks. Also, I'm fairly certain you're right.
Or who knows, maybe the Mitsubishi Eclipse is going to be the cheapest EV.
Yeah, we'll see.
Still crazy to me that a Nissan Leaf looks similar at its price point, looks similar enough to a $625,000 Ferrari. What a time to be freaking alive.
What a time to be alive.
Oh Steve God. Goes, I wouldn't mind a cheap EV Slate. My issue is how safe it is because, dad, safety, you got to think about it. I agree with you there. Look, we're going to know how safe they are relatively soon, within the next year or two, because they're going to have to go through crash testing and stuff to be legal, right? Like, they're going to have that. So we'll know. Now, here's the thing. Cheap usually means small or small-ish, or what we would consider to be small, because frankly, what other countries consider small, we consider Power Wheels. So that's the thing. And in today's day and age, if you don't make a safe car, you're not going to sell that car. I think Greg talked about this last week.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And that's arguably the thing and the reason why all these cars are so god-awful expensive. Because you have to have crash or these avoidance systems, a rear view camera. You have to have these safety, all these different things that you have to put in the cars. They used to be options, now they have to be in the cars. So that's just naturally driving the price up. Um, so, but on the flip side, look, do I think the Slate is going to be objectively dangerous? No, but it's a new manufacturer. It's a clean sheet design. It's promising a lot of stuff, but we just don't know because we have nothing to go off of. There wasn't a, you know, big block powered Slate back in the 60s that we can look at and say, well, that's kind of their old ethos, although ethos has changed, Jaguar, or what have you. James goes, bring back the Geo Metro 42 miles per gallon. Alicia hasn't thought about a Metro in years. The memories. That's the thing too, is that, and that's why I think hybrids are going to sort of fill the gap, because we're working on alternate fuels in the terms of synthetic fuel, and we're working on EV. Well, that stuff's just going to smash in the middle at some point.
Yeah.
And make really awkward babies. But
accurate.
To paraphrase a great 20th century show, they're going to do the horizontal monster mash. But so, that's where I see it forward. Steve goes, Slate should have another option if the EV flops, like having a diesel option. You got to remember, Steve, while that's a good idea, in theory, they have to source the engine from somewhere. They then have to develop or install a drivetrain and everything. The beauty of the electric car is they are literally skateboards. You slap in a battery and you have electric motors, and poof, you're off and running.
Yeah.
Sure, the Slate could look at, I don't know, pick a tiny engine that isn't and put it in there and probably have more appeal. But those development costs are it's going to merge onto both vehicles and probably make both more expensive. I honestly think that their concept is sound as far as from the modularity of it. Take the drivetrain out of it for a second. If they prove that works, you could apply that to literally any vehicle. Any vehicle. Gas, hybrid, electric, truck, compact car, dad wagon, any car.
True. Very true.
And if Slate proves that works, Slate will then have development budget.
Yep.
Let's see here. Chris goes, if that's the case, what will be the battery size and weight in comparison to the crash test to ensure safety? That's an excellent question.
Good
maybe
question.
Greg can words. Greg can shed a little more light on that, but generally speaking, this stuff is kind of figured out science-wise. You either have battery going through the spine of the vehicle where a drive shaft used to be, and what have you, or the battery is the lowest thing on the car. But EVs have to have it follow a very strict safety protocol because of what happens when they go wrong and how hard it is to put out those fires, and how not every single fire department in this country is equipped to deal with those fires.
Yes.
Here's the thing, and we've said it. The only surefire way to put out an electric car battery fire is to take the entire thing, dump it in effectively a vat of water or fire retardant, and let it sit there for days, weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So like they have to get that right.
Yeah.
Otherwise these things are just going to done. Alicia asks, Dadwagon, is that slang for the Volvo? Dadwagon is actually our nickname for Greg's first Volvo.
That's right. The old Volvo V70R, the hashtag Team Dadwagon, when I was trying to make that into an M3 Slayer. which we got like halfway there.
And
We
then
did not get
And
all
then
of the way
Greg
there.
nuked the clutch and bought an automatic after that. Were those two things connected? Well, the world may never know.
Well, I mean, fair play. I definitely nuked the clutch. Um, I was told that when I bought the car, there was a new clutch installed. I'm not, I'm not entirely sure that was correct. And also, the OEM clutch was definitely not up to par and not up to the task of handling 450 horsepower. So, the if I would have upgraded that clutch to an X clutch, probably yeah, I would have been a lot better. But we never did that. So, we'll not. The world may never know.
So, on that end, um,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Matthew
Me.
Furio asks, "What are your thoughts on the Porsche Cayman and Boxster being released as EVs?" Um, I will give you my thoughts on that. I think here's the thing: they're already backtracking on that. I'm sure there will be an electric variant, but they've already said there will be an internal combustion variant on that. Which, for me, when the manufacturer's like, "We're gonna do this thing," no, we're not. No, we're not. Okay, a little bit. Not sure. They're trying to be half pregnant over here. Um,
Yeah.
that kind of tells you all you need to know on it. Me
Hmm.
personally, those cars shouldn't be EVs for the simple fact that they're supposed to be small and lightweight.
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much said what I was going to say is they've already backtracked on it. There may be a EV version of it, but it's only because they started development on it and they kind of have to make it at this point. It's so far down the R&D road that they have to recoup some costs. But turning those cars into EVs was a biblically stupid idea because of the weight savings. Um, the Boxster Cayman is supposed to be a lightweight sports car. Electric vehicles are not lightweight sports cars, nor no, until we get like a lightweight battery. That's not going to happen. Like, it's just, make a different car and make that the EV. Again, they keep trying to shoehorn EVs into these names and platforms that they already have existing, and it's not working. Just make a new car. The Mustang Mach E, which is should have just been called the Mach E, shows that it does work because it's not a Mustang. It's an EV crossover, and they do sell them. They don't sell a ton of them. They sell enough of them to make it significant, but it's not a Mustang, actual Mustang with EV componentry in it because they knew that wasn't going to work. So they made a crossover and slapped Mustang on it to try to get like, you know, some credibility for it or whatever the hell their marketing team was thinking at that point in time. Either way, um, I don't think it was a smart decision by Porsche. I think I think the whole EV thing has been overall just way too rushed. And I have said since day one, it is going to take 50 to 100 years um, to adopt EVs in full. And everyone says that's hilarious. And I'm like, just wait. Meanwhile, that was about 4 years ago when I made that comment first off. And now every single OEM is walking back their EV plans. So that's now 4 years of progress completely erased. What do you think now? I believe Chad has vacated the premises. Um, but I will continue to keep going here. Chris says, have they
Will
been
you just
working
have
on?
chat up in another tab? For Christ's sake.
No. Chris says they have they been working on software that would be unlike the Charger that had so many software issues that would then turn into a giant paperweight. Um, I mean, it's Porsche. They don't have software issues the same way that Dodge does. Let's just call a spade at that point. Porsche is not Dodge. Um, at least now. If you asked that question 30 or 40 years ago in the 80s and 90s, I would have been like, oh, they're the same because Porsche, most companies that were sort of smaller had electrical issues, along with a lot of the big players that were cheap and again, Dodge was one of them. They had electrical issues in the 80s and 90s as well. But now Porsche has gone so far beyond everyone as far as over engineering, as far as quality is concerned. They are routinely at the top of almost every quality list. They are at the top of almost every value retention list. So Porsche does not have the same issues that the Charger does, that Dodge does. So um, they've been working on software. Porsche has that will work in a word. So I wouldn't be that concerned about Porsche when it comes to electronics, when it comes to EVs, when it comes to software, when it comes to coding. I think that they are vastly beyond most people and most companies in that sense. Steve goes, when I think Porsche, I think of their old school cars. They are beautiful. I can't ever see myself in an EV Porsche. I agree. I think that's a good take. I think a lot of people see it that way. I think a lot of their existing customers would be very curious and they would dabble, especially because it's Porsche, and a lot of their clientele have multiple cars and multiple Porsches. So you're probably looking at a between 30 to 40% retention rate for existing Porsche companies or existing Porsche customers, being those that buy Porsche EVs, with about 60 to 70% outside, which is a crazy good retention rate for something like that. If it came to that, I think a lot of them would do a lot of what the rest of the market has gone and done with EVs. They have bought them, they have tried them, and they don't like them, and they go back to internal combustion, which is something that happens more often than you would think. It happens about 20 to 25% of the time with those that buy EVs, according to basically every research firm that works on the automotive side. So that is a really poor retention rate, and it's a good adoption rate. EVs are still doing record sales. It's just also because people are making more of them, so of course they're having record sales. It's all you got to sell, or it's like a majority of what they have to sell. Uh, so there's that to consider, but people are trying them and they're not liking them, and they're going back to internal combustion or hybrid. People like hybrids because you get a little bit of both worlds in that sense. You get that internal combustion, kick, and that noise, but you also get the hybrid EV. You also get the hybrid EV, quietness on startup. You don't have this loud cold start thing that a lot of people don't like. So it is going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out over the next 4 or 5 years, as I think the automotive industry is in a lot of turmoil, and we'll have to see if people can see themselves in EVs, specifically Porsche. I don't see them really having a lot of EVs in their plans in the future. They're also one of the pioneers of synthetic fuels. I think they are way more hedging their bets on that than EVs. That's for sure. Let's see. Matthew goes, they are trying to give those Dodge Chargers away. I've never seen such massive discounts. Yeah, they are literally trying to give them away. They are they're $20,000 to $30,000 discounts on some of those cars right now. Nobody wants them. But it goes back to the pricing on EVs. They're crazy expensive. And it's a Dodge Charger for like 60 grand. And I'm like, no, unless it has a Hellcat V8 or a really top end V8, 392 with like every bell and whistle on it. No one's paying 60 grand for that car. Get out of here. So now they're trying to sell them, then again, recoup some costs. So we'll see. They're definitely not going to be making that again anytime soon. That's for sure. 124 Spider would be a good one. Yes, 124 Spider would be a good one. In reference to what? I'm not entirely sure what you're referencing, but 124 Spider is a good car. Miata, basically, with some excuse me, some cool alpha underpin or overpinnings, Miata underneath an engine. Matthew, Porsche has 6 years of experience with the Taycan, Macan EV, and now the Cayenne EV. Yes, and the Taycan, the Macan, and the Cayenne um, don't sell for them at all. They don't sell very well for them. So I would actually be interested to see what the retention rate and the adoption rate are for the Taycan specifically. I used to see a lot of them when they first came out. I never see them anymore. Again, I work from home, but I do a lot of driving. I still drive 10 to 12,000. Um, Chad, Greg mentions Miata, immediately yawns. Oh, Miata, that's the answer to everything. It is so boring. No, excuse me. No, I I would be really interested to see what the Taycan adoption rate is because I really don't see them anymore. And we live in northern New Jersey, which again, this is not a humble brag or anything, but there's a lot of money around here. We live in a county that is in the top 10 for richest counties in the country. There are very affordable places in this county, but some of the towns in this county are extremely rich. Talking like uh extremely rich. So um yeah, top 10. And there's a couple of Porsche dealers are just around us within a 20-mile radius, like two or three of them. And I saw Taycons a lot when they first came out, and I don't see them anymore. Uh, and again, going back to what I said, I still drive a lot. I drive 10 to 15,000 miles a year. I work from home, but I do a lot of driving around town, other towns, all over the place to pick up things, um, to get my kids, to run errands. And I go through some of these rich towns, and I go through some of the towns that are, upper middle class. I don't see them anymore. I really don't. And again, it's all times of the day. I'm not just saying like, oh, I only should do this. I don't see them. So I'm wondering if people tried them, was like, oh, cool, and then got rid of them for something else. Maybe bought another Porsche. I'm not sure. Ocean County, not Ocean County, no, more north. Of course, there is John DeLorean. He lived in northern New Jersey. Yeah, that's true. John DeLorean did live in northern Jersey. Um, Fix it again, Tony. Fiat pre 1980. It's still that way, by the way. Most Fiats are not very good cars. They've come a long way, but they are they're not great. They have a lot of issues. Alphas, again, also still have a lot of issues, but yeah. So, Chad, are you there by any chance or no?
No.
Okay. So Chad's gone.
Oh,
Cool.
good. Yeah. Yay, Streamlabs.
Yay. So
Tried to have you up there, chat. Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
I heard you mention the
So
Taycan. They make a
yeah.
wagon variant, so therefore, on principle alone, it's the best EV ever made.
So that's a hatchback, not a true wagon.
It's 4 doors and it has an elongated wheelbase. It's a wagon. It's wagon.
No.
Then your car's a hatchback.
Needs to have a defined D pillar. That is the has to be a wagon. It has to have a
Anyway, while Greg is muted, chat, what do you guys think? They can't hear you.
What is this? Pardon the interruption, or what's the other one?
Oh, first take.
First take.
I am Tony Reale up in this piece.
You're not Max Keller, or I'm not Max Kellerman, or whatever the hell his name is. Get out of here.
Well, it was Max
Reale.
Kellerman. It was Tony Reale.
That's right.
Max Kellerman hasn't done it in like a decade.
Yeah, that's right.
Age yourself a little more, jerk face.
That's right. But either way, I mean, you're not wrong. You do make a hatch wagon-ish thing, whatever you want to call it, and it looks cool, but it is not. They could have done a better job with it. The Panamera Sport Turismo is super cool. Hybrid, 680 horsepower, an actual wagon. And I'm like, that That's what they should do, and they make that.
Taycan looks better.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, we've reached that point of the show where we've. I need a graphic that it's like Greg is wrong,
it's just a stamp that comes over my face on a diagonal. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
or it's like Greg's terrible take of the week.
You get like a sports ticker.
Brought to you by Manscaped. I don't know.
Yes.
I couldn't think of a.
Hey, that's a good sponsor. Manscaped sponsor. Um, so there's one other news bit that I wanted to just go through before we move on to the personal car topic, because I'm gonna need actually, how many people do we have in chat across both right now?
I don't know. It's doing that crazy thing where it just counts all of X's views, but it says
Ah,
32.
okay. All right. So we have people in chat. Let's talk about this. It doesn't have to be a very long topic, but I need your guys' help. So my wife drives a Volvo XC90, and it's getting up there in age. It's a 2017. It's going to be 10 years old next year. Um, it's funny. This thing's 10 years old, and it still runs like a top and looks great. But we have 50,000 more miles on the XC90 than we do this thing. Um, it's definitely getting, it's not unreliable in any sense. It's only left my wife stranded, I think, once ever. And that had to do with tires as opposed to the actual car working. But either way, we're going to need a new one, I think, within the next year. My wife has looked at the Toyota RAV4 and thinks it's too small. So we're looking at something of Ford Bronco size to Volvo XC90 size. So you're looking at your large medium to large SUV, not Chevy Tahoe, not Toyota Sequoia, not that size. So like your standard potentially 3-row SUV, um, but with potential to go down to like the Ford Bronco-ish level, so like Toyota 4Runner, that sort of size, right? Your 5-seat SUVs that are on the larger side, that are not a crossover. So I need options, because what I've done is the research, and the research is okay, but there's a lot out there, but there's a lot of like, you know, what would you guys recommend to look at? Now, obviously, there's another XC90 you can look at, which is an easy choice because we already have that, just the newer one. But in that price range of like 30 to $45,000, I know that's a big berth, but like it depends on what year you get, what kind of warranty you can find, blah blah blah. But that's sort of like the budget and the price range we're looking at, with trade-in, with savings that we have to put a down payment on it. We can't buy it outright for sure, to finance. What do you guys think that we should be looking at? Um, a couple of options that we have looked at. Now, you guys put it in chat if you are suggesting stuff. But some of the things that we have looked at, and haven't driven anything yet, but Mazda CX-90, Nissan Pathfinder. And I'm just throwing out names. These are not things that are necessarily on the list, but these are just to give you ideas. Toyota 4Runner, Ford Bronco, Jeep Wrangler. So like in that sort of uh, Volvo XC90. So put in chat what you think we should be looking at. Give me a couple of different options. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, because if it comes down to it, we can always just get another XC90, but there are cheaper options, and honestly, there might be better options, because some of these SUVs are going to run regular gas. They're going to be cheaper to maintain. They're going to be cheaper to run. Um, while people are getting into chat with potential options, Chad, what do you think?
Ram 2500 Power Wagon with the Common Rail 6.7 Cummins.
That is the best answer that I've ever heard. Also, I need a mute button for you now.
You're not in control. Suck it, nerd. Not for nothing. I think it would be absolutely hysterical to watch your wife or you try to get into one of those because you are not tall people.
No, but I am taller and actually do know how to get in and out of a truck, thankfully. So, um,
I mean,
just the
of the
jumping down
stuff you
from it
of the
would be.
stuff you've said, remind me, are you going CPO or new?
Oh no, it would be CPO. It would be used. We can't afford new. A new Volvo XC90 with the stuff that we wanted, it is like 70 grand. Not a thing. Even the new like Tellurides, which is another option, like they can reach up to 50, 55,000. I'm like, no, you can get one that's 2 years old for like 35. Why the hell would you do that? So like, no thanks. I'll save 15 to $20,000 and get basically a brand new car.
I mean, if it were me, I would look Forerunner. I would go. I mean, you're probably going to care about gas mileage and all that nonsensical.
Well, she does. I don't, but she does. Yes.
um, I would say,
Damn it, internet dude. Yes, I did. Always. I'm always doing a Greg. I am the Greg.
um, I personally would say Forerunner. I would lean into a the GX 470
hmm
Lexus because V8 and simplicity, and that
Sure.
engine is going to outlast Keith Richards and the Roaches. Um,
Yeah, that will outlast the heat death of the universe.
I
That's for
mean,
sure.
I would look into coming off a lease like Honda Passports. Uh,
Yep.
Metal suggests over on X XC90 Recharge,
Yep. That's a good one.
the CX90 from Mazda. Um, Metal goes, Lex is always a good call if you can manage to avoid the Toyo tax to some extent. True, but counterpoint,
They still
the
hold value.
UZ, the 2UZ is such a simple engine. Uh, Now that has obviously its pros and its cons. The cons are it's a binge drinker. Um, Especially when we put 35s on Greg's wife's truck and a lift kit. Um, you know the internet dude's winning the comment section. I'm just gonna go radio
Correct.
silent for like 15 streams and I'm gonna pop in. Greg, what the F did you do? Um,
Love that.
but I mean, as we've well documented on this channel, not necessarily this show, those twin turbo V6 Toyotas aren't confidence inspiring.
No, they're
Uh,
not. The new ones are not great.
so it's like it's a hard recommend there because like my thing is if you have an option, actually, you know what you should get, and it's going to be the least expensive option. I can almost guarantee it. Is on one of my routes I do, or the route drives I get to one of my clients. There's a place that I don't know what they are, but there's some JDM cars. So they always have like key cars or K cars out front, or trucks, I guess is a better way of describing it. They have some. They've had like a Skyline, not a GTR, a Skyline, a 4-door Skyline for sale out there, and they currently have. It's got to be almost an early '90s Forerunner there, and this beautiful bronzish, not bronze, but like this deep orange paint. That body looks in really, really good shape. Forerunner. The only downside is your wife would have to learn how to drive from the right seat.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
you know, so like RAV4s and CRVs are too small, is what I'm gathering, right?
RAV4 CRVs too small. Again, good family cars, but My wife literally, our friends in the neighborhood have one, and last night she was with a couple of her girlfriends over at the other house and sat in the other woman's car and drove it around the neighborhood, and she just felt very cramped. She used to own a CRV, but now she's driven an XC90 for 6 years, so she's very much used to the size. So,
I mean, the
it's
Bronco's a cool option. I just don't know if she'd
that's what I'm
like
thinking.
that.
Like she's getting more outdoorsy. She does drive down and do bike riding every Sunday with her friend. You know, she is doing she's going to start in paddle boarding and stuff like that. So the Bronco is an interesting and a very tantalizing option in that sense because it gives you the option to be outdoorsy without necessarily going full Jeep Wrangler because it's like a more refined Jeep Wrangler, if you will. So you can still have that like top off experience of a Jeep Wrangler, but
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
not
I see what you did there.
not that way.
I see why
But
you're advocating for it now.
you damn right. Um,
Sorry, Greg's wife.
but
I didn't mean to make it weird.
but no, you're 100% correct though. It is one of those things where you're like uh it's a better Jeep Wrangler because we had a Jeep Wrangler. Our XC90 got hit, and we were down that car for a month, and we had the Jeep Wrangler, and it cured both of us from ever wanting to own one. Like they're cool, but they are not fun to live with for sure. So I feel like the Bronco is definitely in that same camp, but more refined and just a better option than a Wrangler. If it feels a lot more livable while still being outdoorsy, and you can off road with it if you really wanted to. Like taking that camping would be an absolute riot. And the accessories and the aftermarket for the Bronco are plentiful. So you can get any number of trailer hitches. You can get any number of paddleboard mounts for the roof, for the side of it. Like there's tons of things you can do with that. So that to me, that's a really palatable option. It's got good cargo space. The kids would love it. It would be like one of those like, oh, mom's got the cool vehicle now. Dad's got the sporty wagon. Oh, I want to go in mom's car all the time. Like, that. I mean, I'd be down for living with a Bronco. It sounds like a great time.
So, question: what's your budget?
Yeah, anywhere between, I said 30 to 45, but ideally right around 40, preferably 35 to 40.
Damn it! Bronco Raptors are about 17,000 out of budget.
Yeah. So that would be a me car. That not for Kate.
Oh, she'd absolutely love it. Honestly, I don't know much about them. Um, Apparently, Anthony sent you a listing.
Oh, nice.
But I would,
I will check it out.
I a vehicle I came across doing one of your videos, like while I was editing it,
Hmm.
that I kind of really dug the look more than I thought I would. Is the Passport.
Yes. And actually, that's one of the ones that I had pitched Kate looking at is the newest one looks awesome. It almost looks like an old school Xterra in a way. It's
Yeah.
very cool. It looks great. Honda did a really good job on the exterior design of that thing. Um, the headlights look fantastic. The interior, I think, is still a little Honda E and Passport E, where it's still, and then not in a bad way. It's approachable. It's not overly, it's not overly rugged in that sense. It still feels like a Honda inside. So quality, um, cheap, but not like, you know, not luxury, but not overly cheap. Not 90s era Hyundai we're talking about. Uh, But the outside of it looks awesome. I love the way it's been redesigned. It looks really good. She did not like it
Hmm.
when we looked at it, but
Interesting.
it is cool looking. I'll give you that. It's something that I would even consider buying just because I think it looks really nice.
Um. Yeah, and like the their out off-road variant of it. Looks really, really
Yep.
good.
Yeah. They're like Trail Sport or whatever the hell it's called.
Now that's interesting that she's landed on the Bronco because, like,
Well, it's one of them. It's one of them. It's not the thing, but it's definitely in top five, I'd say.
interesting.
Yeah.
What about like? Well, I guess. Um. Oh, hey Matthew, thank you so much for the stars, my brother. He says send some stars for the to put towards the wife's next car. Appreciate you, my dude.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. Appreciate that. Those so much.
Um.
We will use it towards the next car. We promise.
I think you guys have looked at pretty extensively the Telluride because Chris mentioned it in Facebook
Yeah.
chat. The
Yeah.
Telluride Palisade
The
twins.
Palisade specifically, but the Palisade right now is having a ton of safety issues, including seat belts, including airbags and things like that. It has completely turned us off to even wanting to be on the list.
Right.
Strangely enough, the Telluride doesn't have any of those issues, even though it's
How?
uh, because they're manufactured in different places. They're not manufactured on the same line. So interestingly enough, the Telluride does not have those issues.
Interesting.
But Chris just put into chat the Telluride Nightfall would be a decent choice. Yes, agree. I think the Telluride also has another one of those like off-roady, sporty kind of options, right? Where it's not like an off-road package where you get like giant shocks and whatever, but it is, it's a trim package plus I think you get better knobby tires, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, and then the Nightfall also looks really good. I think it's a more like blacked out version, which I think is also pretty sweet.
Good God. I just Googled the RTR Bronco
Yeah.
just for poops and giggles, and it didn't even come up as the RTR, but it was a
Uh-huh.
2025 Bronco Badlands. So not even a Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
92 grand.
Oh, I'm gonna need to hit more of the lotteries for that one.
Oh, dude, people make pickup truck versions of the Bronco. That looks pretty dope.
Really? Toss it
Yeah.
up. Let's see it.
Can I open uh, images?
Yeah, Alicia, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Once we get our list together, we're basically gonna be like, here you go, grandparents, enjoy these children, and then just go off and test drive like 4 or 5 cars.
Um, so here's a fun story. In my purging of all things annoying on here, we're gonna have to do this down and dirty way. Scene. Boom. This is annoying. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Transform. Center. For. There we go. Like I said, I'm creating a scene on the fly, so I apologize.
You're good. You're good.
Apologize to the chatters who are here for our riveting conversation. So we'll just throw that up like so.
That looks
That's
awesome.
Cool. That looks so freaking cool.
Yeah, that's sick. All right. Well, that's Kate's new car. God
Kate,
damn.
You're
Look at that.
Good news. I'm giving you the Polestar.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to be outdoorsy? There you go. Here's your truck.
Oh, you want doors with panels on them? When did you become so bougie?
Yeah, screw your doors with panels. That's dumb. Yeah, that's sick. I want that so bad.
That is really cool. I didn't know those exist. I didn't know those were an option. I
Yeah.
kind of imagine that.
How
much
does that weigh?
Probably
Can we
not nearly
write
as much as you think it does.
Yeah, so it's like, can we write that off as a business expense in full?
I mean, Bronco Raptors are right around that 6,000.
Yeah, so I was like, can we write it off?
Wait a minute. It says it's only 80 grand, Greg.
Oh, I mean, only.
Hey, that's double your budget. So just I don't know.
Yeah, it's not
I don't
it's
know how
not
to
too
justify
bad.
that.
It's not too bad, right?
Yeah. No, that's imagine one of those on a Raptor chassis with a Godzilla under the hood.
Yes.
That would be quite awesome.
I do believe I speak for everyone when I say hell and yes.
Oh my goodness. A random internet dude just pops in, mocks Greg, and then heads out. This is the way.
That's this is it's Chad's favorite commenter now.
I mean, I just like that I got, I don't have to do
You
nothing now. I just got
don't,
Greg's just gonna I have
it's just
someone to come in and not necessarily do my bidding, but just come in, bust Greg's chops, and then you know, leave.
like your own
Paid actor,
personal
if you will.
it's like your own personal busting chops AI bot. It's great. Except could you imagine if you just coded a bot to come in and chat? It's not even a person. It's just like burn Greg, send, and it just does it.
I could actually here's the funny thing. I'm gonna forget this, so but there's a way to where I could set up commands. So it's like I could have someone type in chat exclamation point Greg Byrne of the day. Um, oh, you referred to him as Clanker. Them's fighting words apparently. But I can have a command to where literally they all they have to do, and I'd have to remember to do it and remember to update it. Um, but literally have a command where it just is exclamation point burn Greg, and it just the chat bot will pop up and say something to burn Greg.
Oh my god! All right, you need to work on that because that's actually hilarious. I will allow it.
But
I love that.
yes. So actually, he goes okay. Bye now.
This is great.
um, what the hell? Oh, this is. I'm looking at a stream on one of the feeds, and I'm like, this is way behind. And I'm like, why does the
Oh.
chat not match up? And then it's like, oh, right, because it's minutes behind. Um, yeah. So I look forward to hearing when you guys go and do the test drive.
Yes,
Should
it'd
be
be
funny.
interesting. And thank you. I did see a bunch of your comments in chat, so thank you for the ideas. I'm gonna run this back actually tomorrow, and utilize that and put it into my list, and then see if I can parse that out. So, but as of right now, I think some of the top options are Bronco, another XC90, obviously because she likes the car. She's been driving it for a while. Only natural to go drive another one just to make sure it's still on the up and up. Um, she does like the Subaru Ascent, I think is another one. Again, outdoorsy, utilitarian, really, really affordable, honestly. I think 2 years, 3 years off lease, they're like 35. They're like 30 to 35 grand, which is pretty good. And takes regular gas and 260 horsepower. So it's not bad. It's a pretty decent car. Um, and then what was the other one? And then the Telluride. I think those were the four on the list so far. And I think an outside shot was like the Toyota Highlander. So we'll have to see. I'm going to go back and go through the comments, but thank you guys for putting some more options in chat. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'll report back in a couple of weeks and see what we've come to test drive. Yay.
All right. And to close things out, there's another topic, and I should know this because I wrote the thumbnail, title, description, etc.
Yes.
Go.
So the last topic is, and I don't know if you read the article that I sent, but do you know that there is a
The
list
Muffin
of
Man?
the Muffin Man? Um, do you know the list of the least driven cars in America?
I mean,
because
I
they
know it's.
have one.
Oh crap! This is the wrong one. Oh,
They have one.
abort,
It's a.
abort. Sorry, I'm trying to. You sent the link, and I'm trying to click on it, and I got click
Oh
happy,
no!
and I clicked the
Don't
wrong thing.
don't don't click on it because I want to quiz you.
I saw the Mustang was on the list, and I was like, that tracks. I haven't driven mine in a fucking year.
Well, I mean, yes, but you have reasons. Um,
Well, it's not
but
exactly a shining beacon for Ford either.
sure. But they have a list of the least driven cars in America, and I'm going to go down said list. But do you wager any guesses other than the Mustang, as to
Well,
what could potentially be on here?
cars kind of that same ilk. Now, is it cars that were sold in 2025, or what's the?
So that's what I'm looking at. So the article says this is from IC Cars, which is a great reference for anything car research at this point. So, analyze the odometer readings from more than 2.1 million 3-year-old cars sold in 2025 to calculate the average annual miles driven by drivetrain and model. So, it's a lot of cars. 2.1 million is a lot of freaking cars. 3-year-old cars sold in 2025. So, you're looking at 2022, 2023 model year kind of stuff. So, basically modern, almost new cars.
Okay, so if the Mustang's on the list, and just because Matthew mentioned it in chat, I'll go with Porsche 911. Similar
That is
type of car,
also on the list, correct?
or the Cayman, or the 718s on it.
Nope.
Um, two-door sports car. Hmm.
There are a
Supra,
couple of weird ones on here. Nope, not on there.
BMW
Though, splitting hairs.
Z4.
Yep. So I was like, so it's
So I was
kind of
right.
on there. It's just a
I was
different
right.
badge.
I was right.
But so yes, on a technicality, because if you're looking at those that bought the Supra, they probably drive them fantastically more than people that that bought the Z4, because the Z4 is a convertible and the Supra is not, and convertibles get driven way less than hardtops for obvious reasons.
Um, is that the only BMW?
Shockingly, yes.
God, those people actually drive those cars, huh? Miata.
Yep. Yes, good shout. I did not think that that would be on the list because Miata owners love to drive their cars, but it's on there.
It's
Number
convertible.
6.
Is that the?
It is.
How many more?
But
More
the new
convertibles?
Miata is not necessarily just the convertible. They're all hardtops. They're all retractable hardtops. So
Right, but that retractable hard toppiness, rear wheel drive.
mhm.
I'm guessing there's more
Yeah.
of those on this.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, like I said about the convertibles feature heavy.
What are other convertibles? It's like my least favorite type of car.
Yeah,
Um,
same. But like 7 of them, 6 or 7 of
Jesus
them are
Christ, they make that
convertibles.
many?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the 911 is 9. Oh, well, at least
Not.
mm,
I mean, it's not. Are there other
the
like?
911 picture in the article is a convertible, but the 911 I think overall as a model is what they're talking about.
Well, the Mustang you can get a convertible. The 911 you can get a convertible. The Z4 is a convertible. The
Yes.
Miata is a convertible. So that's 6 more.
Um.
At least there's 10 cars,
Well,
or how
hang
many
on.
cars are on this
So
list?
there's 10 cars. Let me just see. Hang on. There is one.
SL Mercedes.
One, yes, also on the list. There's 1.5 cars that are not convertibles. And I say a half because it'll become very apparent as to why I said half when you hear
Oh,
that.
is that like 3-wheel thing even an option?
No.
Because I'm guaranteeing you there's not a lot of miles on those fuckers.
Yeah, no, but no. This is all production stuff.
KTM Expo.
No, 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 no. No, no, like actual production cars.
They produced them.
Yeah, but I'm talking like mainstream stuff.
5-cylinder engine, by the way.
I know. Very cool.
Hmm. So I have 6. That means
Yeah.
there's 2.5 more convertibles.
Correct. Yes.
Luxury, a Rolls
Yeah.
Royce of some assortment.
No. No. There's nothing that high end on here. No.
Jaguar F Type.
Nope. Because they don't make them anymore.
Did they split the Fiat 124 and the Miata into two separate cars?
No. It's only the Miata. They haven't made the 124 for a while.
Oh, that shows you how much I know. Um, hmm.
There is one I guarantee you will not get at all. 100%.
Factory 5 Shelby Cobra.
No. Yes. No.
One I will not get.
Yeah, for sure you won't get it. There's no way.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing the remaining convertibles are from high-end manufacturers.
Yeah, it's pretty much mostly luxury. Yeah, it's there's the half car is not luxury.
What is it, like a smart car?
No, but it's a sports car. You were in the right realm originally.
Half a car, sports car.
So it's you can technically count it as a removable top, but it's not really a full convertible. It's a T-top.
T-top. Oh, Corvette.
Yeah, there you go. So C8 is one of them.
How's that half a car?
Well, it's half a convertible because it's not really a convertible. There's no retractableness to it. That's what I meant. It's not half a car.
Aren't you a communications major? Learn how to communicate. So that leaves.
So
that's 7.
You have so far the Ford Mustang, by the way, which is number 1 on this list with only 2,092 miles driven per year on average, which to me, with the other cars on the list, makes no sense. Like, I know people don't drive their Mustangs that much, but like, I thought that they would drive them more than like a Vet and a 911, but apparently not.
I mean, from September to April, when my Mustang actually, or no, it was, when did that thing get finished? I think it was August to April when I had the Mustang finished and boosted to its fiery death, the first Mustang.
Yeah.
I put 8,000 miles on that fucker.
Right.
Keep in mind, most of that was winter.
Right. But so I'm going to go down the list of which ones you have so far. So Ford Mustang, number 1. Mercedes-Benz SL class, number 2, 3,100. Porsche 911, number 3, 3,800. Fourth, Chevrolet Corvette C8, 4,394 miles driven per year. Number 5, you do not have. Number 6, MX-5 Miata. Number 7, Z4. Number 8, you don't have. Number 9, you don't have. And number 10, you don't have. And I will say, all of these cars are luxury manufacturers.
Is there an Aston Martin in the list?
Nope.
Really?
Yes. For number 5, I will give you a massive hint. It is one car that the 3 of us at Shifting Lanes all agree is an absolutely excellent Grand Tourer, one of the best ever.
Great Grand Tourer.
We've all driven it. We've all driven it. It's modern, and it looks like a spaceship.
I can't think of anything we've ever agreed on as a trio.
It's got a V8.
V8 Grand Tourer. That's not an Aston Martin that we've all... Wait, the AMG GT?
Nope. Think Japan.
Oh, LC500.
Nailed it. That's number 5. 4,400 miles a year on that one. And then number 6 was the Miata. Number 7 was the Z4. So 8, 9, and 10 are the ones that you were missing. And this is the one in these 3. This is guaranteed to be the one that you will not get. Number 8, you will not get for sure. But number 9 and number 10, these are a little tough, but they're. I mean,
they're all luxury marks.
One of them is a Merc. You've already said the SL. They make more than one convertible. I'll say that.
CL?
Close. C-Class. So. C-Class convertible.
Was the C.
Yeah, so C-Class convertible, 7,100 miles per year. The number 8 and number 10 are the last 2 you're missing. number 10, you are in the right country with Mercedes for number 9. So a country mate of Mercedes.
So it's not a BMW. So is it another Porsche?
Nope.
RS5 or S5 or 5?
Yes, nailed it. Audi S5 convertible. Forgot they made that.
Uh-oh.
7 miles per year. Number 8, the one that you will not get.
All right.
It is not a sports car at all. It is, in fact, not a car.
So it's truck?
Sort of.
It's not, is it? It's not a Ford.
No, luxury. We're talking luxury. Same country.
G-Wagon?
Nah, nailed it. G-Class. Yeah. The next hint was going to be incredibly rich, snooty soccer mom. And it would have been like, G-Wagon. Nailed it. Yes, G-Wagon, 6,600 miles per year. So to get the list in order, descending, number 10, Audi S5 convertible. Number 9, Mercedes-Benz C-Class convertible. G-Wagon, BMW Z4, Mazda MX-5 Miata, Lexus LC500 convertible, C8 Corvette, Porsche 911, SL Class Mercedes, and number 1 in both not driven and our hearts, the Ford Mustang with 2,000 miles per year, which doesn't make sense to me because I guarantee you they do this again next year with this list. The Mustang will be like out of the top 10 because that's how these things work. Like one car goes from number 1 to like, oh, no one drove it this year, but then they drove it like a shit ton the next year.
So this is just an average all cars owned of these types?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it. Who the fuck's not driving Mustangs? Like
same. That's why I was like number 1.
Are they that
Mustang?
popular?
No
It's
sense.
like a second. It's like a.
I mean, I guess so. How many people bought Mustangs that year in 2022, 2023 and just stashed them? Like the GT500s, the GT350s, like they couldn't have been that much of the Mustang sales that year to really make that much of a dent because there's so many more Mustangs that are made other than those.
Right. Like I'm with Alicia on here. That doesn't make sense. I know at least 10 people that drive their Mustangs year round.
Yeah. Same.
I was this like I said, I was
I see them all the
the
time.
exact same way. I would be driving the shit out of my Mustang if the fucking rings didn't fail and it wasn't a $14,000 minimum repair that I'm probably going to spend close to, if not a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Because car guys be doing car guy shit. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, look, okay. I get that a lot of times Mustangs, when they are new, especially the newer ones, they're priced for a certain they're not priced, quote unquote, for us. Well, I guess, yes, they are priced for us because, fuck, we're in their 40s. Like, yeah. But they're not priced to be the affordable car that, what have you. So, but this goes back to something we've said probably once a month on this channel. The whole concept of buying a car that you really, really like, you really, really wanted, that you spent the money for, that you bought new, and then not driving the fucker. That just doesn't make sense to me.
I agree. It's just,
it will never make sense. I don't care if it's a fucking Koenigsegg. I am driving that.
Yeah. I think that
and that goes into my purchase decision. If there is such a car that like basically maintenance is redonkulous, so it's like, well, I could get it done every 6 months or 7 yards.
Yeah.
No. Or like the old Ferrari thing where the engine had to come out to do a timing belt, and that was a 20,000 mile service, right?
Right.
But like
355. Yeah.
355. I think the 355 and the predecessor, the
348.
Was it 348? Was that the Mondial?
Yes.
Yeah. Still better than the Luce.
That's accurate.
The Douche.
I like the 348. The 348's grown on me a lot.
Yeah, I personally, Personally, if I was to get any Ferrari, it would be a 355.
Yep.
I love those things. And like those engines are apparently really stout.
Yep.
So I'd love to play with that engine
Yeah.
probably for like 5 minutes and then like, oh, how much does this cost? Oh, Ferrari's not going to sell it to me? Well, then.
Yeah. Well then.
I just drop it off at Tavares' shop. I'm like, you deal with it.
Yeah. Here, have fun with this.
Uh, yeah. I think we're in agreement, but elaborate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Interesting question before we wrap it up. Phrasing. Um,
Yeah. It'll be a full rabbit tool.
is there any car ever made that you would not, I wouldn't say not drive, but put
Mm.
less than 5,000 miles a year on?
Oh, I mean, sure. I mean, if we're talking money, no object. I mean, and if I'm like a collector of cars, because even if I'm a collector, I'm going to drive stuff. But any 50, 60, 70 is an era car. I would put less than 5,000 miles on, just because like I'm gonna have multiple cars, and I'm gonna probably put the most mileage on like some of the dailies. I would honestly even go as far as to say like, if I have the money, no object, I'm having 10 cars. I would be really hard pressed to put 5,000 miles on any of them if you have that many cars. But um,
I just meant it from a standpoint. Obviously, if you have like a 10-car garage, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
let's just say you have a 10-car garage because you're passionate about cars, so that means you drive above the average. Say you
yeah,
put 20,000 miles annually on all the cars. 10-car
yeah.
garage, that's an average of 2,000 on each car, right?
All right, exactly.
Um, Let me rephrase that question. Is there a car that exists in any era
hmm
that you would buy and have to think twice about driving? Like something you would drive
Mm,
and put miles on to keep the fluids going and all this other sort of stuff, but like you would be afraid to put too many miles on.
I'd say there's only sort of really one car that comes to mind, and it's a very old collector's Ferrari. But again, I would even drive that to shows. Like I wouldn't. So if it's not a 10 car garage and I'm still like flush with cash, I buy like a 250 GTO, like I'd still want to fucking drive it. I paid tens of millions of dollars for that. I want to drive it. Fuck that. Like, that's going to be used. But also just like the driving experience is not great. Let's be 100% frank.
Well,
You're you're gonna have a very cool experience, but I don't want to spend 5,000 miles in that car like ever.
right. Well, that
So
goes back. We were talking. I was Metal hosted a space over on X earlier, and like that was one of the topic of conversation is old versus new, and
yeah,
that conversation sort of steered more into the serviceability side of it.
sure, sure,
And that's a topic we should talk about
yeah,
at some point here on this show.
yeah,
But to your point, one of the things that's never brought up about these old cars that look stunning, have crazy engines that sound amazing. They come from an era where, you know, just style was so much more.
yes,
Uh,
just
but they are
pure
pigs to
engineering.
drive.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Pigs. Like you could
Yeah.
go and let's just say hypothetically you could get a 68 GT 500. Most people would hate driving it,
Yeah.
and it would be slower than an EcoBoost Mustang today.
Right.
Maybe not, but
I
it'd be a lot
mean,
closer than you'd think.
yeah, probably would be.
You know, but I'm of the mindset of if I would not buy a car if it was such a vehicle that I wouldn't want to drive for one reason or another. Yeah, there's some classic
Yeah.
cars out there, but I am very, very much in the camp of the resto mod.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know, if I was to get let's just say a late 60s Mustang. I'd be throwing that bitch on a roadster shop chassis. I'd have a fully modern chassis. I'd also have the interior uh done in such a way to where it's modern. I'd have all the modern stuff, so a good modern stereo. It doesn't need to be the, ground thumper 9000 stereo system, because frankly I've outgrown that. But like a decent radio that is good enough. Have CarPlay, but have it in like one of the, like those hideaway dashes, to where when you look at it, it looks fairly stock. Maybe it has like a line that shows you like the now playing or whatever. But at a press of a button, you get the 8-inch touchscreen display.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing crazy bigger than that or what have you. And that way you get the best of both worlds. You get a old school looks, old school charm, old school engine note with every modern amenity that you desire. And like, yeah, there's cool cars out there like the F40, the Countach, like Matthew was mentioning. Like you said, the 250 GTOs are redonkulous just because they're. Here's the thing about
Right.
like those. It's like that was back in the era where Enzo made road cars for the sole purpose of making A, his race cars legal, and B, financing
Right.
his race car program. So those things
Correct.
are practically race cars. So to start them up is the owners of them will tell you it's an event.
Yeah.
Normal people will say it's a fucking process.
Yeah.
Uh, Old
Well, that's the
school
thing.
carbureted engines, especially when you have 12 of them. Um,
Yeah.
Carburetors are great and all, but they're not as great as they're romanticized to be. There's
Yeah.
maintenance with them and all this other sort of stuff. So, like, look, if you're a tinkerer and you get an old school car that you're going to drive and use, and you like the concept of like, okay, every oil change, I need to make sure the car like tweak. I get that appeal. I don't know if I'd necessarily enjoy that myself. Not having the opportunity, I can't say for certain, but I like the idea of having, like I said, that 60s era Mustang on a modern chassis with, I mean, just go through Ford's back catalog of great engines. I wouldn't necessarily drop a Coyote in, because I don't think the Coyote matches the soundtrack matches the vibe,
Right.
right?
Agree.
So, but you could build the small block Fords to make 600 horsepower pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, we could go find a big block, because I'm starting to get more and more interested in big blocks recently. Um, I don't know why, uh, but
Because they're cool.
yeah, there's just something cool about like, how big is your engine? Well, let me look at you. Oh, you have a 2 liter. Well, the good news is your engine would comprise the same displacement as 1.5 of my cylinders.
Right.
I don't know. That's really appealing to me, but
Yeah. But like I'm sort of in the same camp. It's just like if it has modern amenities, and I'm talking like not even like crazy stuff. I'm talking like air conditioning. Cool. A seat that won't make your back split in half after 2 hours of driving. Um, is fun. Is not going to be just a royal pain in the arse to drive and or maintain, in a sense of like it will be gone 9 months of the year. Cough, Koenigsegg, potentially cough. Um, but like, you know, Spiker, Pagani, like even those high end cars, like they have modern amenities and they're comfortable to drive. Like if I had a Pagani Huayra BC, I would drive the shit out of it. I'd drive it everywhere. Like
just not
you'd be
into your
hard
own
pressed.
garage.
Well, no, definitely not. I would have another house at that point. um, no, but like,
You'd finally build the car elevator I've been telling you to build for forever.
oh yeah, no, I would destroy my entire front yard and just level it and just be like car straight in, elevator up into the house.
Your
Like
secret lair underneath the house.
exactly. But like I would you would be hard pressed to find a modern super hypercar that I wouldn't drive 5,000 miles a year because I paid for that. I want that. And I want that to not to show it off either. Like, and this is what most people would think, but I'm so past the point of just like caring what people think. It's like, oh, you drive it to show it off. Like, I think that. I don't give a shit. I'm going to drive it, paid for it. I love it. It looks cool. It's amazing. Go fuck yourselves. It's
Right, because
awesome.
like not for
And I
nothing,
want to share it
I
with
don't
people too.
and not for nothing, I don't like people enough to have a car that I'm just gonna sit in my garage and be like, come look at the thing I drive every other arbor
Right.
day.
Right, exactly. And like, if I paid for that thing and I want to like I'm bringing it to shows. I'm bringing it to like local meets. I want to share it with people. Like, yeah, have every kid there sit in it. Who gives a shit?
I mean, if I have that kind of money, I am absolutely making
Right.
a professional driver teach me how to drive it on a track.
Oh, for sure. 100%. 100%. And there's going to be many thousands of miles on track just from
Yes.
that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, just want to thank everyone. Again, we have some new
Yeah.
faces and some old faces and some old new faces. Um,
Faces.
appreciate everyone. Appreciate Matthew for the stars,
Yes.
but everyone who commented, like, shared, all that fun stuff. You're every bit as important to the show, and you're basically why we do it. So,
Yeah.
on that note, Greg, why don't you send us off with your dad advice of the week?
Well, I mean, good topic to end on because, we're talking about like driving 5,000 miles a year. And that sort of parlays into like, appreciating what you have. Because let's be honest, unless one of us hits the mega millions, we're probably not going to be buying any Paganis anytime soon. That's for sure. So, um, I think a good thing to do is take a step back, look at what you got, and sort of appreciate what you have. Because while you're probably not going to be owning a Pagani anytime soon, I know I'm not. Um, the other day I was driving this, and I was like, man, I really want a new car. I like this car a lot, but you know what? I really want a new car. And then I went on a back road and I kicked it into sport mode and I was doing like the paddles and everything. And I'm like, I don't need a new car. This thing is still fun. It looks great. It sounds awesome. It's a blast on back roads. And I really just appreciated the car again because I hadn't driven it like that in a while because it's been winter. So I haven't really been able to drive it like, not necessarily in anger, but you know, to an extent where I'm like, okay, this is a cool, fun car. But I did that again. And I'm like, man, you know what? I don't need a new car. This thing is a lot of fun. So in that sense and in that spirit, you know, we all have stuff. We have um, things in our lives like families, people, friends, whatever. We have, homes, apartments, places we live, cars, things in our lives. Take a step back, look at what you got, and maybe take a look at it again. Try to appreciate it a little bit more because you worked hard to get what you got. And you can keep working hard to get more things and keep leveling up. But you know what? Where you at? You know, celebrate that a little bit. You know, appreciate what you got.
Absolutely. And on that note, that's going to be it for today's show. Thank you again, and we will catch you guys